All right, so for today's video, we're going to be talking about what does it look like when two decimals are being multiplied. Now, let me show you what the problem looks like. zero point 0.4 or 4/10 times zero point 0.3 or 3/10. So we're going to be talking about what does that actually look like. Now, in previous videos and previous practice, you've looked at what multiple groups of a decimal look like. So in other words, if I had 4 groups of 3/10, what would that look like? If I had 5 groups of 8/10, what would that look like? This is a whole different thing. This is not a whole group of something. This is part of a group of part of a group. So it's completely different, and you're going to kind of see it doesn't exactly make sense until you model it. So we're going to go ahead and jump in and kind of see if we can model what this looks like. So first things first, we should try to get a rough estimate of what this looks like. If we have 4/10 times 0.3, is that going to be more than a whole? Is it going to be less than a whole? Here we can round this number to 0, and here we can round this number to 0 because that's our closest whole, and this is our closest whole, 0 and 0, and 0 times 0 is 0. So what in the world does that mean? Well, it means that our ultimate solution is going to be less than 1. All right, so let's try to model and see what that looks like. So first of all, you should know that each square, we're going to define that as our 1. We're going to call that our 1 whole. Okay, so that means that each of our French fries here, that's going to be 1/10. And then that means each one of these little squares, each one of our tater tots, that's going to be 1 out of 100 or 100th. So let's go ahead and model first. We're going to try to model on our grid our 4/10. Now I'm going to choose to do our 4/10 vertically. Okay, and you'll see why in a second. I'm going to go ahead and color those in. Okay. All right, almost done. All righty, there we go. So now I have colored in, and I'm going to show you in just a sec, what 4/10 looks like. There you go. Okay, and we can see that this is 4/10 because I have 1, 2, 3, and 4 groups of our tenths, which are our French fries. So we have 4/10. Now, what I'm going to do for my other factor, my 3/10, is I'm going to do those horizontally, okay? And you'll see why in just a moment. And I'm going to use red for the other color. So let me model my 3/10, okay? 1 group of tenths, 2 groups of tenths, and you can do this as well. 3 groups of tenths, okay? So now you can see that horizontally, I have colored in my 3 groups of tenths. You can see those are my French fries. They're just turned a different direction, okay? Now, if you take a look at my model, there is a place where both of my groups are overlapping, okay? I'm going to go ahead and box in that area, and you can see exactly what we're talking about. And I'll even color those in really, really dark, just to show you which squares are overlapping. So if we look really closely, we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of my little boxes are sharing both the groups of 4/10 and the group of 3/10. This is actually my solution. This is my product of 4/10 times 3/10. In other words, I have 4/10 groups of 3/10. So the solution is actually 12 hundredths. 12 hundredths, which looks like this, 12 hundredths. Okay. Let me go ahead and give you another problem that you can try on your own, and I want you to see if you can color it in as I've colored it in. I'm going to pause the video and let you try it in just a moment. But the problem that you can work on will be 4/10 times how about 7/10? 4/10 times 7/10. Go ahead and pause the video, use your paper, and see if you can model what that looks like. I'll show you what my model looks like in just a moment. All right, so hopefully you have had time to model what 4/10 times 7/10 looks like. I'll go ahead and show you my model. So my model is here on the right side. And you can see that I have vertically modeled my factor 4/10, and I have horizontally modeled my factor of 7/10. And here you can see that I've boxed in where both of the numbers overlap. Okay. Now, if I count up each one of those, 3, 4, and then there are 7 groups of 4, and I count all of those, there are 28 of our little hundredth blocks in there. So the solution that you should have got was 28 hundredths. All right, so I hope that that model helped you understand what's going on with multiplication of decimals with decimals.